Hi, I'm Gary, and I just got here. Today we're going to continue building the FT Simple Scout. So, there it's starting. So, let's move this over so I can see the chat better. Hi, I'm Gary. A little bit of a delay today. I put it on ultra low, but that's how YouTube works. Turn that on mute. I was watching my flight back. Thanks for all the chat, guys. Boy, it was windy out there. I got me a drink and I got some cheese curds because I still haven't had dinner. I've been on the go, it seems like, all day. So hopefully we'll get to this. I think we'll put that on after the wing. Hear the dog barking. That means Christina's home. You guys can see that in the background. That's that FMS plane. I took 5 screws to hold that thing together. Wasn't much at all. So got it all put together. I got those extensions for these and put those on. I have another one. Looks like it fell on the floor. They're about the same length, and we'll put those in the wing when we get to that step. Is it just Kevin? No video. Yeah, Dave, man, that's so. At lunchtime, I ate at a place in Bell Fountain called Don's Downtown Diner, and they have these giant burgers. And I had the one called the Bodybuilder. It has peanut butter on it and bacon, and I had them put a fried egg on there. Man, that thing was awesome. But they have a sandwich called the Matilda, and it's like a challenge burger. It is giant. Oh, so, and I forgot to bring over I got a tool that does Z-bends, so maybe we'll do the push rods at a later date, because I was going to do those, but I can do them later. That's not a big deal. We got everything so that we can hook up the servos and everything. Let's put the wing in. Now last time we were building, Dan asked if I put the dehedral in it, and I said yes, but I was wrong. You got to cut this tape and bend it. And I'm going to leave it straight, and I'll glue on top and bottom to the fuselage once we get it in there. And this is going to go in right through here. And they suggest using the edge of the table to support the fuselage. So I'm catching on the fuselage right here. So I'm going to round that over just so a little bit, just so it'll, just like that. See if we can get it past There it's going. Alright. And I can see the line in the wing, and we'll get it centered up like that. Nice and even. And then there's a couple dots here. Those are the CG marks. And so we want those even. And then we want it all the way forward against the front of the plane. Just like that. Looks pretty good. Already looking a lot more like an airplane. And to do the ailerons, there's a score line here that I have to cut into there to create the relief, and then I'll have to do a straight back cut. And then we'll cut the bevels. But before I do all that, I want to get the wing glued in place. Get a drink real fast. That wind out there made me dry out a little bit. So now that what I'm going to do is I will push it back again just a little bit so that I can get some glue around in here, although I don't have the glue gun hot. So that'll take a minute. What you guys think of that airplane right there? 70 millimeter, just like the Viper, and it's supposed to go a little faster. I think it's because the form of it's just a little bit smaller. While we're waiting on the gun to heat up, I do have to cut this out. This is where the battery's going to go. So he uses just the blade itself, but I'm going to use the safety knife and get it out there as much as I can. You want to get it all the way through because it's riding against the material underneath. There we go. Knocked out. And that motor is going to slide back in here against the bottom, all the way against the wing, but we want to have the wing glued in place first. And then we do need to get this built up, and I got these cards. I want to firm that up a little bit because the previous ones that I've had, they break pretty quick. And I found wheels and collars that'll work with this rod. And then I gotta bend it in half. It is 15.5 inches. So what was that, 7 3/4? This half. 7 3/4. 14. Yeah. So 17 3/4. Right there. And then I got a pair of pliers up here. So I need to get a hold of it like this. Nice. Yep, this is the FT Simple Scout. Are the sailors live right now? Did I miss something? Well, that's a bummer. I try to avoid their time. So I need to get this past the 90-degree mark. So I got the bend started. So I'm just gonna, well, that didn't work. So let's get a hold of it like this, along with the wire. Well, that ain't working. This is some pretty good material. It's really strong. So now I'm a little more than 90 degrees. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'll need to relief it just a little bit so it can meet the mark in the cardboard or in the foam board. You know, use this to open up the lines where it's got to fit down in there. Just like that. And then they said it would make the bend a little straighter by going past and then coming back to it. So it looks like maybe just a little more. There, it looks pretty good. So now it shoves right down into the foam board. And I'm gonna put this like that, right? But I think, and he was saying to put these pieces of gift card on each side like this, and then taping it, or after you glue it all up. But I think I'm gonna put it inside like this. Or did I cut these? Maybe like that. And that'll, because I think if I leave this, it'll bend up into this foam board, and I don't want that to happen. I need it to be really rigid. So watching a vid that came out a little bit ago. Oh, you were watching their video they released. I see. Well, that's cool. I saw it came out and I haven't had a chance to go watch it yet. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some glue on here. And then I'll set that on there. And I'm gonna put some glue in the fold and on top. Like that. And then I'm gonna squeeze it all together like that. And you can't see it now, but I'm gonna put some more on the back side because it'll rip through this paper, is what I've seen in the past. And all this is just gonna make it that much stronger. And I'm going to use this piece that I just cut out to hold it because the cards, the foam board's pretty insulated for all that heat, but the cards are not. So I'll do this to hold the card. And we'll put it on there like this, but then I'll use this to hold it till it cools down. And this will all strengthen this up real nice for when we get it into the plane. Yeah, I'm liking that. And this is something that Josh Bixler tells you can do in his build video, but he doesn't do it. And I think he should have went ahead and showed us, because I think this was going to make this landing gear last a whole lot longer. Hey, Mom's on there. Hey, Mom. So there we go. So then that's going to go in. And then there's these little, there's going to be, we'll cut a relief here because these are going to come out the side of the fuselage just a little bit. And then there's a certain distance we're supposed to bend. And what I believe is most important here is enough, we have enough axle once I get it bent for the wheels and this axle nut thing, forget what it's called. So I need about that much, and when I do it, then I'll just make sure I get the exact same amount on the other side. But I'll move it, I'll mark it with my thumb. I want about right there. And then I should be able to get it with these pliers. They're stiff. Just like that. It's actually, so this is going to be easier than I thought. It's exactly the same amount that goes right, it bottoms out in the pliers. Say, Joe, thanks for hopping on. Just like that. And the bend will be a little bit too much. And the reason I'm going to have it kind of like angled like this, just a little bit when I get done. And the reason I bend it too far is because if you don't, and I've picked out some wheels that have pretty small openings, but they're still big enough that if you don't bend it extra, they'll just roll right up on the axle and be up in here, and we don't want that to happen. And then I'll just do the exact same length on this side. Just let it bottom out in my pliers. And then I want to make sure I got it parallel with where it's going to enter into the plane. And then we're going to bend this angle out. Now we got them, you can kind of see they're kind of like feet bent up. So we can put the wheels on there. Now when I got these out, I made sure I had an Allen wrench ready in the bag for these. They're called wheel collars. Did I say earlier? Wheel nuts, wheel collars. And so go like that. And then there's a little set screw in the collar that'll make it lock down to this axle so we don't lose it. And you could do Loctite. I'm not going to take the time to do it. On there good. We get this one on. That. It's not rolling up. This one tightened down. So we gotta loosen it up to get it on there. There we go. Eight 8:30 Eastern. I've done the same time every time now. Sorry, Paul. One thing you could do to make this a little better is you make a little notch in the axle so that when you tighten this down, sits down into it. There we go. And I don't think it's going to matter which way I go with this. Might have to open it up a little bit because I've made it thicker by putting those cards on there. And I got to make, oh yeah, it does matter. It's got to be this way. The axle's got to be in the front because that's where I'm going to have that relief spot. So okay, that knife's not sharp enough. I got a sharper one here, I think. Just like that. There we go. And you can see that if you're looking down in there, you can see the guides for the wheel foam. And we'll make sure that's open. I don't want to try to open it more than just so that these can actually push into it, because I want all the strength that I can get. So looks like I forgot to turn the sound off on my phone. Just like this. You can see it's sitting down into the fuselage now. It's nice and solid in there. That looks pretty good. Now I'll shoot some glue in here just because I don't want it to come out ever. So I want that to stay in there solid. So I'm going to shoot a little glue in here. And up here. And on some of my repairs, I would even go as far as shoot some on the inside here, but I think this will be enough for now. We'll just push it down in there like that. Looks pretty good. So now we got the front wheels. And for the rear wheels, I stole a tail wheel off of, where is it? Oh, here it is. Stole this tail wheel off of one of the S-Box that I crashed. The worst one. And this is what I have on the blue or greenish Simple Scout that I've been flying with the Christmas lights on it. It's the same tail wheel from the first one I crashed. And what we'll do is we'll make a hole right here for this to slide in and glue in place, and it will bend this so it'll push into the rudder for steering. So first we want to get it lined up. I want it back here pretty far, about there. And then I'm looking at it and I want to bend this 90 degrees right about there. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just like that. And then that'll push up into the rudder. And then just to make the hole, I'm just going to use the tip of the knife and work a little hole for it. Just like that. And then I will set it in there to make sure it fits without shoving this into the tail. Just like that. It looks pretty good. And then we'll pull it back out. Actually, let's go ahead and I'll line up the hole into the tail. Just like that. Looks like it's lining up pretty good. You guys will see it's come out the side just a little bit. That's really okay. It isn't going to affect anything. There's enough here. And if it does, what I'll do is I'll put some of this packing tape over it just to make sure, but I think I'm all right. I guess I could straighten it up just a little bit. There. Now it's not sticking out the side. Good as new. And we're just going to glue it in place. You know, if it was a wood airplane, you would screw this tab in, but the hot glue is going to be enough for this airplane. So we'll just shoot a little hot glue right there and up here for the tab. Just like that. Setting down in there pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bead right over top of that. And then once it cools down, it'll be solid and you can see the rudder is making the tail wheel turn. So then I'm going to have a steerable tail wheel. And I got all the landing gear in place now. Let that cool down before I turn it over though. Next we'll glue this wing in place. And then we'll feed the servos in. So actually I'll leave this right where it is, and we'll glue a bead along the side on the top and the bottom. I do. I keep all my junk airplanes underneath the stairs in the basement. I do have a lot of them. And nice. See, Justin hopped on for a second but said he couldn't stay. I appreciate him coming on and saying that he couldn't stay though. That was nice. Alright, so I'm going to run this bead right here, down along through here. And I'm just making it look a lot like what you would fill on your house windows. Actually, I didn't get that pushed forward all the way. There we go. Now we'll hit this side. And he doesn't put it on the top, but I'm going to. He says something about if you crash, it'll help not tear the whole thing apart. Well, I know I'm going to crash, but at the same time, I don't want it to be easy to come apart, so I'm trying to glue it all together. Disneyland, nice. A long time ago, I think my mom lived somewhere around Disneyland when she was just a young person. Alright, that got sloppy looking. Let's scrape this side just to try and keep it looking as nice as much as possible. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'm getting little hot glue strings everywhere. Mini spray. Yep. And I don't have any history with the Sparrow, but I think the RC Sailors made one. I don't think they made the Mini, but they made one. There we go. And I'll do the same on this side. We'll just scrape that so that it doesn't look too bad. And this is for flying. So it's not going to be perfect, but I'm hoping that it'll last longer. It can be one I can take out. Like today would have been nice to have an airplane like this for the wind. So I wouldn't have had to try to fly the P-51. I'm down quite a few airplanes needing repairs right now. Say, Mike, how are you? I missed your name up there at the top. Sorry about that. So now we got a wing. We got landing gear on here, front and back. We still need to put the servos in the wing and cut the ailerons loose. Let's go ahead and feed these servos in. I made these, they're pretty long, but this will be all right. Won't affect it too much. And we're gonna, when we built this material, this piece that strengthens the wing is like a track, so it should push through to the middle there. And I have these because my fingers are too big to reach up in there. Not sure if I was supposed to do this earlier. I don't think so. Maybe I'm supposed to use a piece of rope. Fishing lines are not the easiest thing for me to do. Life, right? Life is busy for everybody, it seems like. We're all trying to recover from Christmas and all the time off. So I'm gonna have to do a string or something to feed these through because I'm having trouble. I will, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put these into place off camera because I'm gonna need to get some rope and a little weight, and I'll feed it in there. And what you do is you let it drop down, and then you kind of hold it at an angle, and it'll fall into this cavity here, and then I can pull it out, and I'll tie the string around this and pull it through. So I don't want to waste your guys' time while I go and get rope and stuff, but that's what I'm going to do. One thing I was going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a dab of glue on this speed controller and glue it down to this little thing here so that it's all down before I put it in here, because I'm going to glue this in place inside here. Now they just use the barbecue skewers through here and then push it through the walls of this to hold it in place. Now I'm going to put the barbecue skewers in there, but I want to glue this in place. So I need to glue this, the speed controller up in there, because when I push it back in there, up here, it's going to hit the wing for alignment. And I don't want it up where it'll catch on it. So I dropped some glue down in here, and then I'll hold it in place. Actually, I'm gonna just like that. And then I'll just hold it there while it cools. I got it just like that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm holding it in place. The hot glue is gonna hold it, and then I'm gonna tuck these wires in next to it real tight, like that. I'll probably put some hot glue down in there to hold those into place. I've tested all this before we did this, so don't forget, if you build one of these, don't forget to test it all before you glue this stuff in place, because I hate for you to get to the end and then the speed controller isn't working, or the motor spinning the wrong way and you glued wires down. That would not be good. Alright, so I'm going to hold them like this, and I'm actually going to drop glue right in there next, on top of it. We got the airplane way up there right in the way. Just like that. Just to hold it all down in there. Just kind of healthy glob. Just wanting it to stick to the sides so it doesn't come up, because them skewers are going to go above all this when I put them through. The BB2. What's that mean? Because it isn't a Bloody Baron. This is the Simple Scout. Still cooling down, because I put a lot of glue in there. It takes a little longer for it to set. So I'm holding it because I don't want the wires to move. I'm going to use this, the one I pulled out of the F-15 Strike Eagle jet that I crashed. I'm going to use this in the Avante. And I'm going to try to set it up with the AS3X to help me. I won't have safe on it, but I'll have the AS3X to kind of take some of the wind noise out of the flight. There, that's pretty solid. So just like that. And then I'll fish all this back through the opening. Actually, this wire is ginormous. But this one, I'm going to have to plug in. So we'll leave it down, and this will go to the back. Now they shove it, they want all this on top of the wing, but since this is AS3X, and I'll have it programmed to, I don't think I do have any gains programmed into it, but I'm going to glue it so that where the wires plug in, I'm going to glue it right here so I can still get to the wires. So not outside of the plane, but on the inside like this. And that way, if I want to program it, I can still plug into it to program it. But I'm gonna fish it through and just let it fall down through that hole. Or not. Alright, so alright, so I wasn't thinking, but the opening where you're supposed to fish all that stuff through is where the wheels are. I got enough room though that I can send just the lead through, so I'm okay, but I forgot that he does all this before he puts the wheels in. So just like that, I'll feed it through, and I see it like that. So just there, and I'll go ahead and plug this back into the throttle number 1, so I remember what this wire is when I'm messing with it later. I'll just let that hang out the bottom there, and then this gets pushed up in there, not quite that far, so it needs to be so there's like a shelf in here for it to set on, and so it needs to stick out far enough so that when I put the prop on, which I got my props in the mail and I left them upstairs, but I need it so that the motor sticks out far enough for the prop not to hit these sides. So we'll glue it in place. Just right about there, maybe right there. And I believe for the right angle, you got to have it sitting down on the sides. So light pole. You guys, I don't want to hit any light poles, that's for sure. So that looks pretty good. That's what I want to do. So now that I know I can get it, I'll pull it out just a little bit like this, and I'm going to get some glue on the sides, open it up just enough to slide it back in there without scraping it all off. I'm going to do it on both sides. Just like that, just enough. And then we'll spread it open, slide it back in there. A little bit hot, got a little bit on me. And then, like I was saying, we want it to sit down and want just a little bit of the motor sticking out. Just like that. Looks pretty good. The glue's still hot, so it keeps making strings. Got the cobwebs going. Looks like I'm trying to type something. There we go. So now the motor's on. I just need to get a prop on there. A little too much of this here, but we'll tuck it up in there. There's room to shove it behind the pod and get it just like that. That looks good. So these things here, the barbecue skewers, they give you extras. He does it with just one, and there's 3 in here, so But anyways, you poke it through one side like that, but don't try to force it all the way through because you're going to miss these little spots. So you get the hole open and then you go to the other side and do it. Same thing on this side. And then after you get them lined up, or after you get the holes created, then you go back and you shove it clear through. And then you got to kind of search for the opening you created. That ain't it. Maybe if I was looking, it would help. If I'm not. He made it look really easy. There we go. Found it. And like I said, he did this with just one. He would push it through like this. Got just enough on each side to put the little engine things on there and then cut it off. I'm going to leave it there. I found it. I'm going to just leave it about like that. We're going to make the little engine things and put them on there. So they're right here. There's one part, and then here's with the exhaust hanging down. And you got to make them both directions so that they both can be towards the back. Oh. I don't know how that happened. I'm not even touching the keyboard. So now we got two of these, and then you got two of these, and you can make them look identical, but you want to have one backwards. So now we're going to glue them like this and like that, and then we'll slide them onto these. So you just shoot a little bit of glue on it. Just enough to hold them together. Just like that. It's not functional, so it's just decorative. But it'll look cool, so I want to do it. My cheese, calling my name. So just like that. So this one's going to go on this side, and when I slide it on here, I'll put glue on here so it glues to the body or the fuselage. And this side will be easier because I can poke it on to these rods. This side will be a little bit harder. So actually what I might do, since there's one extra one here, I'm going to go ahead and force through the holes just to open them up, so there's room for it to just slide it on, because I don't want to have trouble. Just like that. Yeah, it looks like it's going on. out there a little ways so I can get a little. I'm gonna shoot a little bead of glue between the two dowel rods. So just like this, just enough, and then I'll push it all the way up in there, just like that. And we'll trim these off. He says they're supposed to look like spark plugs. I don't know. Then I'll just poke these on. Just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Just a little bit. Just to hold it up there. Good to go. And I don't know if this will do it or not. Might. I probably have some sharper cutters, just not right here. So I'll wait to cut these. Well, I'm on. Go get a cutter. I'll be right back. I found my Z-bend tool so I can bend those push rods. I'm getting close to that hour. And I just got, these are wire cutters, and these dowel rods aren't very strong. I mean, they're just skewers. So just like that. I've got it started. And because this is just for looks, I mean, it's not, there's nothing here that says exactly what it has to be. I made a mistake. Nobody said anything. So once again, I made a mistake. I got this exhaust on backwards. Luckily, I didn't put a lot of glue on there, but it's probably enough that it's not going to look cool when I get it turned around. Got these old, my mom was a hairstylist, so I got these old haircutting scissors here. So I might have to sketch these parts and recut them out of scrap material, because I don't think it's coming off too clean. So I don't know if you can see that, but I had the exhaust going forward and on the outside. It should have been like this. But so what I'm going to do, since it didn't come off clean, because I need it on there like this with the exhaust pointing back, so I'll outline it and get a new pieces cut. So that'll have to wait. I'm gonna cut these off at a distance about here, just so it's not dangerous. Just like that. If you look at it from this side, you can see I got the wheels on one side of the smokestack, wings glued in place, rudder and elevators in place, turtle deck's ready to put on. We'll have to put on control horn or servo arm, put the push rods in place, these things. And this one, I'm gonna use the clevis that's already on there, attach it to the elevator, and then put a new Z-bend on this push rod and cut off the old one so that I can just use this over, because I like that. And then for this one, I don't have one that's that length, so I will just make a new one out of the push rods that come with it, and then put a new Z-bend where the arm will be. So that'll be next time. But we're getting close. And I'll get these pieces cut out before we come back next time. So you don't have to wait on me to do that. That's a bummer. Can't believe I did that. It's all in the learning, right? But we got wheels on, we got the motor in place. We just got to get ailerons done. We'll do that next time since we're almost out of time. Guys, if you like my videos, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me a thumbs up, and leave some great comments. This is what, the 4th day of working on this, and a gun, or maybe. Oh, I see Rag Girl's on there. Hi, Rag Girl. So I do appreciate all you guys that have been on here. You guys are always supporting the channel. I'm just can't believe how much you guys support the channel. I do appreciate it. So hopefully the Avante and depending on what the weather's doing, hopefully we have a nice calm wind day. I don't want a lot of wind, especially for a maiden on this jet. If we have if it feels like too much wind, but still not too much to fly a jet, we'll fly the Viper. If it's calm, I'll fly both of them. So make sure you guys are watching for me to fly tomorrow. It'll be past noon, hopefully. Well, you want a close up on it? So here's the new airplane. It's like I said, it's 70mm 6S. Got the Ovonic battery sitting in here. I got to get the receiver in there yet. It's got flaps and retracts all around. And one thing interesting about this plane is it has suspension, so you can see it. When it hits down on the landing, it should kind of take some of that impact and not bounce right back up in the air. And so I see you guys asking about it. It's got some pretty good detail in the cockpit too, I noticed. that I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there's like dials and stuff. I like that. That's pretty cool. But it seemed like Tower Hobbies put it on sale, and it uses the same size battery as the Viper, so I thought it would be a real easy one to add to my collection. And I've been enjoying flying the jets and thought I'd add another one on. Thanks, Dave. So that's the plan. I want to fly it tomorrow. Like I said, I'll have to program the receiver. You got to program those AR636 with the computer, and so I'll go on and do that, and hopefully I'll set it up with some gain on the AS3X. All right, guys. I'll tip that back. Maybe you guys can see the front end a little better. Anyways, like I said earlier, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and leave some comments down below. I do appreciate that. If you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up. I see 2 people's hit it already. And until we fly these things tomorrow, I'm Gary, and I just got here.